Hello and welcome to Opening Arguments. It is Wednesday, Wildcard Wednesday, everybody. And what a wild card it is. Yeah. I guess it's Pedophile Files release day. I don't know. Something starts with a W that goes, whatever. Anyway, it's also Weirdo. Merry Christmas. Here's a bunch of Epstein files, everybody. I'm Thomas. That over there, of course, is real-life immigration attorney Matt Cameron. How you doing, Matt?
I'm very happy to be joining you for the darkest Christmas special ever recorded. I think pretty much.
Yeah.
Bad timing, but here we are.
A very Christmas Epstein Eve. Christmas. Yeah.
Indeed, as we have to call it.
And, of course, Lydia Smith, how you doing?
I'm here, happy to be with you guys, not happy to be talking about this, but it's obviously really important, so I'm glad that we are, ultimately.
Yeah, I'm just happy. I'll say it. I'm happy to be talking about it. I just think
Merry
anytime,
Christmas to me.
It's not like this is, of the political things that we have to be discussing, this is like, you'd root for this, because this means things are happening. Maybe people are going to be upset at Trump. But anyway, we got file dumps. They're weird. They're redacted. At first, it seemed like everything was redacted and it was just black pieces of paper. And then it wasn't. And then some of it was badly redacted. And then some of it is fake. Some of it's not. We got so much to dig through. I'm hoping, Matt, that you'll be able to, at the very least, just give us like the actual facts. Like I think that the misinformation is so bad these days that even for the folks who listen to us, and I include myself in this as a listener to you, even if we just tell people like, yes, this one is real that you've seen, this one isn't real, even that is like is a service nowadays because so few people actually check. And we're happy to be the folks who actually check for some folks.
Yeah, well, Department of Justice released 30,000 pages this morning, and I have read all of them, of course. So fully prepared, fully briefed.
Well, it's not hard because there's only like one word per page.
Right, so. That's true. Lots of black bars. This morning's release was a lot more substantial, which is why I'm going to try to do my best to get through as much as I can. I just started looking at it, this morning. I already had some time blocked out. We're getting into the holidays here, but this is a first draft. This is our first time around. We're going to highlight some of the stuff I found. Some of the stuff I've not seen in the media yet. Some of it the media is starting to catch. It's been kind of fun because all day everybody's working from the same pages. We're just trying to figure it out. And, no advantages except for the fact that there's teams of researchers at CBS and there's just me and Olivia otherwise. But, we're doing what we can.
Yeah. Yeah, we that is important to note. There's literally stuff dropping like as we're recording this. We kind of waited as long as we could, but so there's inevitably going to be some sort of breaking whatever. But we've tried to keep pretty up to the minute in terms of our now. So we'll see. So I'm looking forward to that. I guess we'd better take our break and we better thank our patrons. Thank you so much, patrons. Hey, it's Christmas and you got us the best gift of all. Financial support.
Thank you.
Really, we don't need socks. We don't need anything. We need support these days. Yeah. Patreon.com/law. And thanks to the amazing folks who are doing that. We're going to thank our Hall of Famers. These are the folks at the $5 level and above for at least a month. And we love them the most if we're putting a number to it. Thank you to Matthew Cutler, autistic Twitch streamer. Veterinary for America 2028, one man, one vote. Alec, unremarkable. Amina, get well soon, Amina. Yeah. Just a friend of ours, giving a shout out without trying to reveal anything, but get well soon. Donna Treadaway, mother of Harridans, protect trans kids, Deep Space Nine was the best Star Trek. Mike Lipinski, Ma is as selfless as I am. Did we have that? Oh, so are they growing it? Didn't we have a
Pretty
different?
Solid. Yeah,
we had like a
Pa
is. Yeah. Ma is as selfless as it. Does that actually? Oh, maybe. Wait, hold on. Ma is. We get the referee, palindrome referee is selfless. Wow, I think that does work.
It's a good one.
Well, that's a cool one. I like that one. Well done. That's palindrome of the week so far. Cyanitis, normalized bidirectional spooning, a constant favorite. Fourth Circuit attorney reluctantly changing her font. Charlie Kelly, attorney at Bird Law. Apprentice of Adventure, probably a real person, Nick Fish, Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer, and Project Ellendrome's Spembrace Unerisms. I don't know what's happening there.
That's pretty good.
But I thought it was like,
oh my God.
I thought it was going to be a palindrome in a weird way, but it's not quite.
Oh, wow.
I might have just had a stroke, or that's funny for reasons I don't even understand.
It's so
Could
funny.
Lydia. Wow, you got Lydia. All right.
It's nonsense. I love it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. It's the gift that keeps on giving is these patrons. You're amazing. Patreon.com/law. Join their ranks. And we will see you after the break. All right. What's the first item on our agenda? I know you insisted on an amuse douche because we're doing heavy, dark stuff for the main lifting here.
And since it's Christmas, we don't actually have any douches in this one. We have some lovely young drunk college kids. These are my heroes. These kids are great. And
well, the subject that what they're talking about is the douche, right?
Yes.
So they are also commenting on an amuse douche.
Don't stop him. He was talking about how young college kids are his personal heroes. I'm waiting to see how this works.
I was intervening
Honestly,
on your behalf,
I've been,
Matt.
We're all a little worried about young white men right now. And, the manosphere is taking everything over. I guess they're all listening to Joe Rogan and lifting out and doing who knows what. But it's good to see young drunk white men doing something sensible. This is actually very funny. This is perfect comic timing. Just wait till the end because it's a very short video. Okay. It's the last 5 seconds, 3 seconds. It's a real payoff here, but it's really fun to watch otherwise. Let's just enjoy. It's a man on the street interview with these guys.
Man on the street interview. Here we go.
Support ICE. Nah, not really.
Oh, it's
you support ICE. Nah, not really.
Hell fucking nah.
Why is that?
Because it's not good.
Okay.
No, splitting up families is not right. These people are not illegal. It's fucking Holocaust shit. That's Holocaust shit. Come on.
Okay, what do you say to the people in comments? ICE is just following the law. Everyone should support them.
Germany, they were following the law. That's how they fucking said that shit. And you know what? Following the law does not mean it's legal. That does not mean it's right. That does not mean it's moral.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You voted for this. They voted for this. And that's wrong.
Here it comes.
What was the last illegal thing you did?
Underage drinking?
Of course, yes.
Oh my gosh. It's like an SNL sketch.
That's so good. Underage
like
drinking.
A funny SNL sketch.
Yeah, I've seen it so many times and I love it so much. It gives me real hope for the kids, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
So,
man, love that.
Some of the kids are sort of all right.
Are all right.
Yeah.
Those two guys, anyway.
That's delightful.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. Fun times in Minnesota. Out
Consider
in the
this douche amused.
That's right. At the end of the day, we are all the douches.
Wait, I'm not doing another ad break after just that.
No.
Okay.
We'll dig into it.
I guess we've got to go right into it.
Let's set up the Epstein story. Let's talk about what we're actually getting into today, unfortunately. So before we start looking at this stuff, remind everybody that the Epstein Files Transparency Act was passed by Congress last month. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We'll link to it. Within 30 days after the enactment, which was November 19th, which if you're counting means Friday was the day it was all supposed to come out, the Attorney General shall make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format. That's arguable if they've done that. Everything relating to Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, flight records, everything you might ever want to know. Internal DOJ communications, which is the most interesting part of what's come out recently. All communications and memos, et cetera, et cetera. Now, no record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. They submitted a memo to Congress with 6-page thing explaining why they thought that maybe there's another law that overrules this. I don't have time to get into that right now, but the Attorney General may withhold or redact the segregable portions of records that contain personally identifiable information about victims, obviously. Anything that depicts child sex abuse material, obviously nobody wants that out there. Anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. We were talking about how Trump might try to get an investigation coming with Bill Clinton, right, to try to get that. But of course, they were happy to release pictures of Bill Clinton. I don't think that's happened yet. Yeah.
That kind of fizzled out. We thought that was going to be a plan for them to not. All right, here I got it up here. Where are we on this thing?
Second page.
Third
page. Okay. Third page. Yeah. So if you want to look at the withholding section, what they released on Friday in the 30-day deadline was, as you probably have heard by now, a whole lot of photos, all PDFs, by the way, just pure one-page PDF. Each one was a photo. The whole thing, all of these releases have just been one-page PDFs all the way through, and every page is really obnoxious, which is why I really appreciate people are immediately putting up searchable formats with keywords, everything available. They're not making this easy. I think they're just going to keep doling this stuff out. They released a little bit more on Saturday, and then they released a bunch more on the morning of Tuesday. Just as everybody's starting to wind up and go home for the holidays, they dump out the stuff they actually wanted to see, which is a lot of the internal DOJ communications we're going to look at, a lot of interesting emails. Again, I flagged a few of the things that I thought were particularly interesting after going through keywords, especially involving some of our favorite key players. Dershowitz is going to be in here. So we got some emails. But I'm going to try to take this through a little bit. But if you want to pull up the slideshow here, we can
there we go.
Talk about what we actually got. And this is thank you, Olivia, for our very
thank you, Olivia.
Christmas. I didn't want to call it that, but
colors
we have
the logo.
That's true. That's beautiful. Nicely done.
The Epstein clause.
Let me give you a taste, because I'm sure you heard by now that the entire grand jury transcripts were redacted in full. So you just got page after page after page of black text. Nothing was released from those grand jury transcripts.
Didn't The Onion post a video? Ben Collins, he posted a video of him just scrolling and it's just black,
and then they reposted
black.
the famous Onion thing that was like, CIA realizes it's been using black highlighters this whole time.
That's right.
Whatever.
And fortunately, we had talked in OA a couple of months ago about how DOJ was pushing to get grand jury records from these different cases released. And obviously there is no exception that would just allow the judge to just release them. But under the Transparency Act, the judge did find a couple of weeks ago that they were going to have to release them, and they did. So now, they did in the sense that they released pages that were allegedly that were redacted grand jury materials. There are grand jury materials from 2005 and 2007 in this release, which is very exciting. Things you can actually read. So we'll talk about this as we go here. But let me just give you a little taste. And thanks to attorney Brad Heath on Blue Sky for catching this one. Put the next page here. Check out these redactions on that next page. Go back. You were just on it.
Oh.
This is a table of citations.
Cases?
Yeah.
Why?
From a brief from Motion. And they're speculating that maybe it automatically redacted SD and Y for some reason, because it appears to be
what the
reference.
hell?
Yeah. So we're looking at a table of citations, essentially. What my favorite one, though, is right in the middle. See that? Blank v. Maxwell. You want to guess who?
U.S. or something?
Yeah, it's a federal criminal case against Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm pretty sure that. Yeah.
So it's we can't know that it's the U.S.
Actually, you know what? That's a 2018 case, so that actually might not be. That's a civil case.
Is it in? It's looks like it's in alphabetical order.
Yes.
So
that is actually it is.
Oh,
so the plaintiff's name is
something
redacted in that. Yeah.
That
actually,
I can
gotcha.
I can zoom this here.
Right. Yeah.
Blank v. Maxwell.
But there's still enough information with the citation that you can immediately find out what that is. This is clearly not intentional.
Yeah.
This is just some sort of weird auto redaction, but people were catching all kinds of places where things are redacted in just weird ways.
What would it be redacting? So it's something number. So it's between. So it's something in a parentheses. That's before,
I think it's SDNY because the jurisdiction is in the parentheses there.
But doesn't there look like there's a period after it every single time?
Yeah, that would be SDNY.
Is that's standard formatting?
Oh,
it could be. Yeah.
It would be?
Yeah, for this. Yeah. But just a little taste, because obviously this is just some sort of automated or random thing.
Yeah, is it something where it looks like somebody's initials? So they're...
Oh, right. That's a good point.
Maybe that's it.
They might be automatically redacting initials, because obviously all the victims are going to be referred to that way. So that could be. Maybe they just...
I bet you that's it.
Yeah.
Well, but then we have DLC there in the INRI WinNet, and you see DLC at the end of that citation.
Sorry,
capital DLC.
The
one that's
there's no
aligned to
periods
page
after.
24.
No periods though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe.
But what about
dot
S period?
There's
US everywhere.
There might be.
I don't know.
I just want to give you the idea here. We can go on to the next one.
Maybe US was an easy one for them to be like, okay, not that one.
Yeah.
You don't need to redact that.
I mean, I'm sympathetic to how much work this has to be to actually redact this stuff. I mean, it's a lot of pages to go through. But so let's check out one of the big revelations here from all of this that came out on Tuesday morning. Let's check out the next page. We've got the biggest reference to Trump, and I'm not going to talk a lot about Trump. He's not really much of this, but this is big.
All right. This one?
Yeah. This is an email, January 7th, 2020, from an assistant U.S. attorney. Of course, we don't know which one. And Lydia, if you want to read the highlighted.
At the very bottom. All right. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. In particular, he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He is listed as having traveled with, among others, and at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. On one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then 20-year-old redacted. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. We've just finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages of very small script, and didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. From an assistant U.S. attorney out of SDNY.
Quite an email. And then up above that, you don't have to go up, but the person actually responds. The only reply is, who are the 2 Maxwell witnesses? Because they want to know. Obviously, they're putting the Maxwell case together at this point to prosecute her. Now, just because they were women who'd be possible witnesses in the Maxwell case does not mean they were necessarily minors, but there's a very good possibility they were minors at the time. Some of the other witnesses in the Maxwell case were people that were co-conspirators. Including people that, women who helped him to supply women. So that's the biggest thing.
And then in Maxwell's conversation with Blanche, wasn't she like, oh, barely knew Donald Trump, barely interacted with him. Yeah. I mean, obviously we all knew that was fake. Yeah. But
it's a good reminder though, because there's so much in here. Also, Thomas, I meant to mention before, I know one of your favorite things about that we've done recently was trying to go through that audio and the work you did to reconstruct the Todd Blanche audio. And if you want it, the raw masters are now available in the Epstein top if you want.
Oh, really?
They don't sound much better, but every single audio file. That
everything was just as a result of terrible recording technique.
It was.
And there wasn't any it wasn't like the file quality was. I can get the remaster going and get the actual
Thomas's version.
92,000
TV.
It's got all the outtakes too. It's not. Maybe there really are outtakes. There might be
little bloopers.
But it's little 2-second audio files.
Like the end of podcast bloopers we do.
I was wondering if you went through, if your patients might be rewarded if you get some weird blooper stuff in there. But I mean, they just dumped in all of the WAV files for everything that he recorded in that room with her. So who knows?
Yeah. You don't think you think there's different stuff?
No, I don't know. I just thought it was weird that they gave us the source material instead of just maybe just to prove everything. But all right, let's take a look at the next thing.
Each thing is differently shaped and hard to zoom in on, and it takes me a second. So first, I'll give you this super zoomed out preview of it. Since you did a delightful slideshow, for whatever reason, I can't zoom in on a slideshow on the docs. So I have to do it a very annoying way, which sucks because I do love the slideshow. I love that part of it. Maybe we'll find something that works in every single way, but okay, I filibustered long enough, Mary.
Well, let's talk about tips for a minute.
Is this
So this is a very, very specific tip because it is coming from one Mark Epstein, the younger brother, and verified from Mark Epstein because Mark Epstein apparently does believe this. I just didn't know the extent to which he believed it. But I will note that you've been seeing a lot of things flying around about different allegations, including yet another sexual assault allegation against Trump, which, I mean, we're all willing to believe, obviously. We have no doubt he sexually assaulted people. We'll get to that one, I think. But really anything after the Epstein prosecution, once it was starting to get into the news, I mean, anybody could make these tips, right? So you can't necessarily say these are facts. These are just tips. But this one I thought was particularly interesting on February 22nd, 2023.
All right. On February 22nd, 2023 at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time, Mark Epstein, date of birth, we don't know, cellular telephone number, blah, email account, blah, residential, IP address, which resolves to whatever, submitted an online tip to the FBI National Threat Operations Center via tips.fbi.gov regarding allegations of murder of Jeffrey Epstein in blank.
So you get to submitted text. Still on the screen.
Submitted text down below. Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in his jail cell. I have reason to believe he was killed because he was about to name names. I believe President Trump authorized his murder.
It's quite a thing.
What was the exact crime that occurred? Murder. When did the crime incident occur?
Foul.
August 9th, 2019. Yeah.
So
where?
Mark Epstein was also in touch. There's a weird email exchange in the record here, and I'm not going to pull it up because it's just too weird. But he was in touch with a guy who identified himself as Melvin Cohn, also suggested that may or may not be his real name, also suggested he may or may not be associated with some sort of intelligence. And it's this whole thing about how we all know that Jeffrey Epstein was not working for Mossad, but you should watch your back. And I know about the cars that have been outside your house. And there's just a bunch of weird stuff. I don't know what to make of any of this. I just wanted to sort of put it in.
I don't think he was murdered.
No, I don't think so either. But,
who knows?
A lot of people do. So I just want to throw that in. Mark Epstein has really been passed over for the most part by the media. There hasn't been a lot of investigation of him. I don't want to slander him in this recording, maybe in a future recording. But there's some weird stuff going around him too. So let's go on to the next one because this is the one that you've been seeing in the news, I think, probably. I just wanted to address it and move on because it is weird. It's so the second half of this on the right side is the relevant part that's been highlighted.
Okay.
And
the highlight is actually the part I want to look at. Nice. That makes it easy
helps.
for me.
This is another tip that was called in. And of course, the Trump people jumped on the fact that this tip was called in on the 27th of October, 2020, days before the election. So, take of it what you will, but there's a lot of detail in here. And
get this zoomed for us. Here we go.
So
Right.
the person who is a little confusing, but the person submitting the tip is talking about somebody he's talking to that he knows that had driven a limo that Trump had been in.
So he knew the driver.
Yes.
In that situation. Okay.
I believe.
Blank asked Blank about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During Blank time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Blank noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. Blank reported some of things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was, quote, a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying, as caller chose not to. Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to, quote, abusing some girl. Blank was unsure who he was talking to nor who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Blank immediately, Blank demeanor, went, quote, stone cold, as Blank stated, quote, he raped me. Blank said, quote, what? As Blank replied, quote, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Blank noted some girl with a funny name, quote, took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened.
There's other references in this tip to trying to spell Ghislaine, trying to remember the name Ghislaine. And then claims later in this tip that this person had her head blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma, and that there was no way it was a suicide. Now, the note at the end is somewhat discrediting because it references somebody named John W. Nichols, who is a figure in right-wing conspiracy theories about Oklahoma City. I don't know. I wanted to say this is a tip. This seems fake because there's some interesting details, but I just wanted to put it out there because you're going to be seeing this one a lot about there's a new rape allegation against Donald Trump. And, again, we're all willing to believe these kinds of allegations against Donald Trump. I'm certainly willing to believe that if you heard Donald Trump talking about these things, you would want to pull over to the side of the road and try to hurt him. That's the most believable part of the tip. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't think this is really anything. The legal stuff in this is much more interesting. I just want to kind of get these out of the way because this is stuff people might have heard about in the headlines.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
It doesn't
seem very credible to me. But
yeah.
Okay,
well,
interesting.
Much more credible is coming up if we go to the next email from the Invisible Man. From the Invisible Man to Ghislaine Maxwell, subject, summer camp.
Okay. I am up here at Balmoral summer camp for the royal family. Activities take place all day, and I am totally exhausted at the end of each day. The girls are completely shattered, and I will have to give them an early night today, as it is getting tiring splitting them up all the time. How's LA? Have you found me some new inappropriate friends? Let me know when you are coming over, as I am free from 25th August until 2nd September and want to go somewhere hot and sunny with some fun people before having to put my nose firmly to the grindstone for the fall. Any ideas gratefully received. See ya, AXXX.
And this is, of course, the man formerly known as the Duke of York,
Prince
Andrew
Yeah.
Mountbatten Windsor. No doubt that this is, who else would be sending this email?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Are the girls in reference to his daughters there?
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I initially read it as because he's a pedophile creep. And so that's absolutely disgusting. I'm like, dear God, let those be his kids. Yes. And I can interpret it in a very different way.
Yes. I think I'm just going to choose to believe that and move on. But he is looking for new inappropriate friends, and he knows exactly who to ask his inappropriate friend, Ghislaine Maxwell.
G-Max 1.
Yeah, G-Max.
And then September 11th happened.
Yeah, that's right. Not even a month later.
Yeah, this one is, old. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right. So next one, this is important. This is the FBI report that was submitted by Maria Farmer, who is, of course, one of the known survivors of Epstein. And this is tragic, of course, because she's telling the FBI. She also said she told the New York Police Department as well. Is
this that old complaint?
Yes.
Like 96?
Yeah. This one just really unbelievable. I don't even understand how this could have happened.
Okay, so this is complainant stated that she is a professional artist and took pictures of her sisters 12 and 16 years for her own personal artwork. Epstein stole the photos and negatives and is believed to have sold the pictures to potential buyers. Epstein at one time requested blank to take pictures of young girls at swimming pools. Epstein is now threatening blank that if she tells anyone about the photos, he will burn her house down.
He made those kinds of threats a lot, it turns out. That's kind of an ongoing theme here about these kinds of dangerous threats. So yeah, this is one of those things that if they had found that he was stealing pictures of young girls and started asking some more questions, they probably could have figured out pretty quickly there were other things going on.
Like, I don't
FBI
trust the
gonna have to,
cops
like-
for much, but I feel like this is something they do usually look into. What the hell?
Would there
Yeah.
be material? Because I mean, like the FBI didn't look into it, but do we know if the New York Police Department also did not look into it, or do we not know
From
that yet?
What I saw, Farmer said she didn't hear back from anybody until the plea was taken in 2008, until she was finally contacted about Epstein having done this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so nothing ever happened with any of this. But yeah, no, believe
So
women.
we got, how did this happen? Like, we got somebody who, again, I don't have a high opinion of law enforcement really, but like, this is something I feel like they usually, maybe different time, 1996, but I feel like this is something they take seriously. Like, somebody is, stealing pictures of underage girls, right? And then threatening to burn down their house. Like,
I feel like it's the Megyn Kelly effect, right? Like how she said, well, 15 is like whatever. And like, I think if you would change the ages on the sisters to like 3 and 7, I think it might have been different. Like, think back in 1996.
Really big speculation. And
It
I don't
is,
know if
sure,
there's,
but I think like that's all we can do at this point is speculating.
I don't know if it's like going to be some bizarre clerical explanation or some, someone had him and was retiring and they just lost track of it. Like, what? It's just weird. There's not much other information. I guess it says complainant's address and telephone number, so you would think they could like follow up. Is it going to be one of those things? Who knows? Back then, it's the 90s. They try to follow up once and they're not home or something, and then they call and there's no answering machine, and so they're like, well, did what I could. Who knows?
Yeah.
I wish we had more answers on that.
I think even in 96, Epstein was pretty connected in New York, so who knows?
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next. There's a fun cameo here from one of the guys we spent some time with last time. This is from an early draft of Jeffrey Epstein's will. There are several different drafts of his will. Check out who is appointed to be the successor executor, and in the case of the executor being unable to serve. James E. Staley, by the way, was a guy who knew exactly who he was, who kept him banking for quite a while, one of the executors here. But we have Larry Summers, Lawrence H. Summers, appointed as successor executor. Summers also makes another...
Is that?
It's Matt.
Yeah. That's it.
He's on his Harley. his crotch rocket.
Yeah, you know me. Can't stay off it. But Summers also makes another appearance in some handwritten notes I'm not including here, but I just wanted to mention that there are handwritten notes that contradict the Alan Dershowitz, I was, my wife and kids were in the house story where this woman is saying, no way, that's not true. And then also mentioning that at a time when there were a lot of girls around and there was a very long meeting going on, that Summers was there in a way that he definitely would have known what was happening. So I just wanted to mention that. Again, those appear to be investigator notes, so that's a little more credible to me than some of these, tips coming in from online. There's also, there's so many other weird tips that aren't even worth mentioning. But let's go on to the next thing. Just wanted to give a little Larry Summers cameo there. The most interesting thing about the new releases are in these emails to me. So we have emails between different U.S. attorneys. We will never know who they are, at least for now. So there on the left, you have, this is the earliest reference I could find, September 6, 2007. He ends up taking the plea in June 2008, but there's so much negotiation back and forth. Now, just to remind everybody, this is in Florida, and what they're going to be negotiating with the defense attorneys, you'll start to see more and more stuff from the defense as we're going through here. This is just between two prosecutors. But they're going to be negotiating a non-prosecution agreement in which the federal government, and we now know from these releases, as of this week, we know that they had so much on him. So the question in the one email was, what's the deal on the table? Just remind me because I haven't been paying attention to this or whatever. And this is a response to what's the deal on the table.
Hi, blank. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Matt, did you
I
want
was
to...
going to say, so basically I'll just summarize the first paragraph. He's just saying,
Okay.
we're prepared to go forward and, we can have a federal plea. And we've learned a lot from, and again, we're still trying to process this, but they were actually a couple of months into the grand jury investigation federally in Florida. Like they were ready to move forward on some serious money laundering stuff. We still don't have a lot of the financial stuff in here that we're expecting to see later. Yeah. Potentially, because they had to get him on federal charges, and like moving money around was a big part of all of this. But he's saying, just in case Alex Acosta is the U.S. attorney for Southern Florida at the time. Alex is going to come up quite a lot in these conversations. In case Alex changes his mind. And then a formal non-prosecution agreement containing the state plea. So basically, they were ready to proceed for trial. They were ready to proceed. Excuse me. I'm saying it. They're ready to proceed with the grand jury. And just to finish it up, they're ready to proceed with potentially a plea in the future federally and have an offer on the table for that. And then, of course, the non-prosecution agreement, which was going to be they were going to, on the condition that he plead to extremely minimal state charges, that they would not bring any more federal charges or not any federal charges at all. They end the federal investigation. And the state, of course, was not happy because the state had deferred, thinking the federal government was going to be actually prosecuting him. But take a look at that middle paragraph. You want to read that one?
There are 3 concerns that I hope we can address tomorrow. First, that there is an absolute drop-dead date for accepting or rejecting because it is strategically important that we indict before the end of September, which means presenting the indictment on September 25th. Second, the agents and I have not reached out to the victims to get their approval, which, as Blank politely reminded me, is required under the law.
Just stop real quick there. Yeah, let's just read that again. As Blank politely reminded me, is required under the law. This was a huge problem. I just wanted to high flag that and keep going. Sorry.
And third, I do not want to make any promises about allowing Epstein to self-surrender because I still believe that we have a good chance of getting him detained.
Yeah. On another note, so like they still are taking this seriously as a federal case as of this point. Like they're not, whoever this is not playing the game that everybody else is playing, because obviously everybody else, including Alex Acosta at this point, is totally on board with it seems allowing Epstein to be treated as gingerly as possible and allowing him to turn himself in and keep this off the record. The part of the non-prosecution agreement is that none of this would ever come out, and he'd have to register as a sex offender, but nobody would really know the details. And he'd be pleading to the most minimal possible charge of soliciting an underage girl, basically, for sex. And then there's on another note, Junior got a call today and basically just saying that Epstein is going to plead to a state charge. And the Palm Beach police chief wanted to know if victims have been consulted, which of course they haven't been.
And they just never were, right?
Right. And a judge found in 2019 that they should have been. Yep.
And and all along, it's like they knew and just didn't.
They knew they were supposed to, and they knew that it was required under the law, as explicitly stated in this email here.
Holy shit! What the?
And these are attorneys. These are attorneys,
U.S. attorneys.
Yeah. No, I know, but all I'm saying is that's even more despicable.
Yeah, this is before Trump appointed game show hosts or weather people to be. This is people who actually were doing this job for real reasons.
Yeah,
to your point.
So let's check out an email from Jay Lefkowitz just to see the kind of tenor of a lot of these. Now, Jay Lefkowitz is a very well-known litigator. He's still at Kirkland & Ellis, teaches at Columbia, and he is writing now to Alex Acosta directly, the U.S. attorney. And the tone of this email, and you don't have to read the whole thing, but just to get a little taste, maybe the first few sentences. Excuse me, just read the second paragraph. Check out the second paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah.
In our prior discussions, you expressed that you were, quote, not unsympathetic to our various federalism concerns, but stated that because you serve within the, quote, unitary executive, you believed your hands were tied by main justice. You were also extremely gracious in stating that you did not want the United States to be, quote, unfair. Although CEOS limited its assessment to the federal statutes your office had brought forth and to the application of those laws to the facts as presented, it is abundantly clear from blank letter that main justice is not directing this prosecution. In fact, CEOS plainly acknowledged that a federal prosecution of Mr. Epstein would involve a, quote, novel application of federal statutes and that our arguments against federal involvement are, quote, compelling. Moreover, the language used by Giroux in his concluding paragraph that he cannot conclude that a prosecution by you in this case, quote, would be an abuse of discretion is hardly an endorsement that you move forward.
Just look at the tone of this. This is again, the lead defense attorney writing to the U.S. Attorney for Southern Florida. And he mentions up in that first paragraph, he says, I respectfully request that you not shunt me off to one of your staff. He's like, you have to deal with me. I want to talk to the manager, right? I mean, this is, for somebody, he's representing.
Sorry, I may have been messing with zooming for a second. I'm not sure I'm following. So what year is this? When is this?
This is 2008 when they're getting very close to finalizing the deal. And,
close to finalizing the deal. All right.
And he's just not happy with the way it's going. And
so the defense, who wrote this?
This is Jay Lefkowitz. So this is within about a month of the plea happening. And
part
he's
of
the lead
Epstein's defense.
Yeah, he's the lead defense.
Okay.
You're going to hear that name a few more times today.
Right.
And so, but again, I just want to show people the tone. And then the response, now this is not a direct response from Acosta, but Alex Acosta there's a transcript that came out end of October that he was interviewed by the House committee on this. And he basically all the way through is basically talking about how he was being kind of railroaded by the defense. And they were constantly lying to him, and they were just sending him email after email, and they were nitpicking and everything. And they were taking back what they were doing. And he's basically suggesting that the U.S. Attorney's Office was either outsmarted or just
what in the world?
Yeah.
So this is the people who do these prosecutions. This is like federal, whatever they are. I forget all the terms.
Supposed to be like some of the best.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they're like, well, the guy, he does a lot of emails, so we just
I got
agreed.
overwhelmed.
Yeah,
it was too much.
It's really pushy.
And they are. You'll see.
Fine.
You'll see with
so
the
wouldn't
letters.
you just be like, hey, fuck faces, how about it's off? It's all
Right.
off. Let's see you in fucking court.
Yeah.
We've got the evidence, right? And,
Yeah.
and look at the tone, though, where just the end of the last paragraph, actually. It's worth reading the sentence at the end of the first paragraph. You and I have both spent a good deal of time in this matter, and I know that we would like to both resolve this matter in a way that bestows integrity on both the department and the process. This is famously not a plea deal that is full of integrity. This is one of the most generous plea deals ever given to anyone, possibly the most generous plea deal ever given to anyone. And I mean, but imagine writing the U.S. attorney. This isn't even like, some line DA that you're trying to negotiate a plea with. This is the main guy. And you're saying, you're being a total Karen about this and just saying, like, I'm talking to the manager. This is me. And you have to do this. Now, the next one is especially noteworthy because this is Alex Acosta responding to a different allegation or some other things that Lefkowitz said later publicly about how he thought some of this was unfair. And just look at the way that Acosta is bowing and scraping. And it's embarrassing. This is on DOJ letterhead. I just zoomed it in so we could get it nice and clear. But yeah, this is quite a statement that, Lydia, if you want to read this one, this is amazing.
It is an understatement to say that I am surprised by your allegations regarding my role because I thought that we had worked very well together in resolving this dispute.
Dispute?
Yeah. It's not a dispute. It's criminal charges. Okay.
He's a sex trafficker. Yeah.
I also am surprised because I feel that I bent over backwards to keep in mind the effect that the agreement would have on Mr. Epstein and to make sure that you and he understood the repercussions of the agreement. For example, I brought to your attention that one potential plea could result in no gain time for your client. I corrected one of your calculations of the sentencing guidelines that would have resulted in Mr. Epstein spending far more time in prison than you projected. I contacted the Bureau of Prisons to see whether Mr. Epstein would be eligible for the prison camp that you desired. And I told you my suspicions about the source of the press leak, quotes, and suggested ways to avoid the press. Importantly, I continued to work with you in a professional manner even after I learned that you had been proceeding in bad faith for several weeks, thinking that I had incorrectly concluded that solicitation of minors to engage in prostitution was a registrable offense and that you would, quote, fool our office into letting Mr. Epstein plead to a non-registrable offense. Even now, when it is clear that neither you nor your client ever intended to abide by the terms of the agreement that he signed, I have never alleged misconduct on your part.
What the fuck is happening?
Why are they best friends?
This is
who
nuts,
do you work
dude.
for, Alex Acosta?
It's incredible.
How do you explain this, Matt?
10 years later, this man was the Secretary of Labor. He was allowed to be appointed by Congress, the Secretary of Labor. He had to resign when all this stuff came out, but this was all knowable at the time. And he was asked about some of this. I don't know if this letter was out at the time, but
how do you explain this? Is there any other criminal where this would make any sense? And so why? What is the explanation?
Acosta did work at Kirkland & Ellis and knew Lefkowitz before, so we'll start with maybe some sort of personal relationship. But the fact is that he had been browbeaten, as he was saying, and constantly ground down by these attorneys, constantly, including Dershowitz, just writing him and Ken Starr. and harassing him. And we'll see some more of this in here too. And nitpicking every single thing of these. But, he's defending his own integrity about some allegations that Lefkowitz had made about his ethical compromises or something. I mean, it's insane. It really is, the whole thing. I can't imagine. He put this on Department of Justice letterhead, this letter. This isn't even an email.
I'm going to have this engraved in stone. And then when he dies, I'm going to put it over at his
I feel
tombstone.
just too confused by this. This doesn't make any sense.
It feels like he's working for him. That's what it reads like to me.
Yeah,
I've done everything you asked.
Deal.
I've done everything you asked.
And then the prosecuting, the person in charge of prosecuting this sex offender or whatever is like, hey, you're saying some mean things about our deal that we did or something. I don't understand this. Can you imagine a black drug dealer getting this kind of treatment, by the justice system, where they're like, oh, we considered how it would affect Mr. Epstein. I've gone to the prison that he's going to be at. It's cozy.
I chatted with the warden. They're very excited to have you.
Checked out the little room.
They've agreed to give you a mint every night
it's
on your
already
pillow.
Yeah, it's what is happening?
I checked your math homework, and you were about to let him get more sentencing, and I made sure he didn't get more time than he was supposed to. Yeah, I know. I knew you loved this one.
When all the Alex Acosta stuff was coming out, is there recourse for the people that were being represented by the United States Department of Justice at that time? They were pursuing Epstein on behalf of the following people that he, hurt. Do they have any recourse, or is it just kind of SOL?
The Crime Victims Restoration Act is what's going to come into play here to allow the victims to sue, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a whole other discussion we're going to get into. I know we're trying to move here, but there's a long back and forth in all of these emails, and I did not excerpt most of them, but this is a big subject of the emails is who is going to be appointed to manage the victims' rights in this, because they very much have their idea about who should be doing that, and the prosecution has their idea, and they're quibbling back and forth about, and it's amazing that they think they get this much say in it, because the victims are going to bring suit, and they know they're going to bring suit, and they're just trying to manage the damage here. But of course, they're not being told.
Nuts.
Yeah, no, it is.
And they were never even. I don't understand that. I still think I'm still confused. It just doesn't if we looked at other things that Acosta did, he would have been at that time, would they be like this too? Or is this just some special, Epstein had connections to somebody, or I guess you're saying, maybe the specific attorney involved, he has too much deference to, but that is just sheer incompetence, right?
I would be surprised if Alex Acosta was this involved in prosecution at this level for most cases. I mean, this is, and you'll see he's CC'd on a lot of stuff here. They know that Epstein has a lot of money and has a big defense team, and I guess they have to take him seriously, but it's not, I don't know.
This is weird. Wow.
Well, let's.
It feels like he doesn't want to piss off Epstein for some reason.
Yeah,
he wants to keep that connection.
They're all very sorry that this happened to him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, the effect it's going to have on your client. No, the way he talks about it is. And remember,
I'm on your team is how this reads
basically,
to me, and that's disgusting.
I am going to remind everybody that he did say in print at one point that he did not have a lot of sway over what was going to happen with this plea because Epstein belonged to intelligence. He took that back later, but
that's what Acosta said.
That's what Acosta said. Now he needed an excuse, I guess, but that's just a thing that's out there. So
thing is, I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense in any reason. It reads as though he is dealing with his supervisor. It reads as though Alex Acosta is trying to make his manager happy. And he's talking to the defense attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's more of that in these emails.
I've never, I'm no expert. We've covered a lot of law in the last decade. I've never heard of anything like this. Have you?
Emailed a lot of prosecutors and a lot of government lawyers. I'm always very polite. I can be a little tense when I
dicks usually?
They are short,
especially to fucking sex offenders.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not going to be normally super cool.
You'll definitely get a happy holidays or whatever, but you're not going to get this kind of respect, this kind of deference.
So, okay, you're working with the attorneys. Sometimes it's going to be a little different than, they're not going to treat the defense attorney as though he's Epstein himself, I guess.
Right.
I'll say that much.
Unless they really earned it. And sometimes defense attorneys do earn that too.
Sure, fair enough. But this is crazy, right?
Yeah. This is.
wow.
Well, if you want to see something that's a little more along the
Well, if
lines
you
of
want
what
to
we're
see
used to.
something, we got to thank patrons because we've
yes.
gone
Oh, yeah,
long. We
let's
have
do
taken
it.
another break. So we've got
cliffhanger.
to thank.
Yeah, please.
This prosecutorial misconduct brought to you by the following Hall of Famer patrons at patreon.com/law. Thank you to A Negative Phenomenon, David Souther, Al lets Della call Ed Stella. I think that was a leftover one. You got to fight for your right to ex parte. Jay Sink, probably a real vehicle. I love that one. That's Vehicular Manslaughter. Changed their name and picked a great one. They're fantastic. When we're still a bit sick, it's hard to, if you make us laugh, like I might have a coughing
That's
fit for an hour.
That's why I keep going to the side.
Cavalry, a merry Chunkmas to all. Oh yeah, Chunkmas is coming.
Chunkmas.
Even a blind squirrel can find these chunks. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter and then the whatever with bizarre character. They're still getting us on that. Thomas Freeman, Cajun Killa, Fraud Fishy Hates Everything, Chris Simpson, Gavelhead Chucking Away, E.T., Anonymous Aquila, and Mark Schultz. Thank you, patrons.
Nice.
And we'll take another quick break, which is probably late at this point, but we'll make it work. So what's next on the docket here?
It's Dirge time, everybody. So
Dirge time. Woo!
Oh, man.
Email from March 18th, 2009. I just had to feature this exchange because this is Dersh emailing an unknown U.S. attorney. We don't know which assistant U.S. attorney it is. But check out on the right here. Let's start there. It was nice having a drink is the subject line.
Dear blank, it was so nice having a relaxed drink and conversation on the porch of our neighborhood bistro. I hate that this is how he writes. Now you see why we love this location so much and want to make it our second and perhaps our first home. What? Oh, like primary. Okay.
Florida. Yeah.
I appreciate your kind words of advice, encouragement, and friendship. I also appreciate your candor.
Candor.
Oh, we killed Lydia.
Yeah, I keep dying.
Candor.
I also
Candor
appreciate
with
your
an I in there.
candor.
Now you're going to tell me that's actually how it's been the whole time, and I'm wrong. I can't wait for that.
Candor and directness about the difficult and emotionally exhausting case we both went through. Okay. I especially appreciate your assurance that the feds will not interfere with how the Palm Beach Sheriff administers Jefferies. Sorry. They're like close friends.
Jeffrey.
Spell it Jeffrey. Jeffrey's sentence as long as he is treated like any similarly situated inmate.
There's no fucking chance he's going to be treated like any similar.
He already hasn't been.
Yeah.
Come on. My understanding is that if the sheriff were to decide in the normal course of events that the circumstances warranted Jeffrey completing the custodial portion of his sentence under alternative custody / in-home detention, your office would not intrude. Thanks again for meeting me on such short notice. I will keep you apprised of our rental or purchase plans, because he cares, and I'm looking forward to spending time with you and your life.
I didn't catch that before.
I know that's the time of it. That's so funny.
Oh
that's so
God.
creepy. Like
That sounds like a
and your
threat.
life. Yeah.
Real nice life you got there.
Oh my God. When we return in November,
Sure hope
best
you have more of
Alan.
it.
You and your life.
So look what Dershowitz is doing with this email.
Sent
He's-
via BlackBerry, Matt. How does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, you'll notice it's much better.
You're on
written
Team
than
Dersh.
Epstein's. Yeah, that's right. No, I was also, I mean, I'm still using a BlackBerry. I was using a BlackBerry
Yep.
2009, of course.
Mhm.
So I just want to point out what he's doing, though. He is, casually talking about this great time they had having a drink out at the bistro. And then like, oh, yeah, I just want to remind you that what we talked about, that you said that you're not going to make sure, you're not going to put any pressure on Palm Beach to keep him from his work release. Because they're very concerned about making sure, because of course he's supposed to be doing 18 months of the softest possible time. And then he ends up being able to do quote unquote work release, which means going back to his own office for 12 hours a day with 2 Palm Beach sheriffs in suits standing outside.
On
So
the
let's see
taxpayer dollar, yeah.
the response on the
Jeez.
other side, because
Oh,
this guy
response
does
on
not
the
want it
other
known in
side.
writing that he said that.
Yeah, because so this struck me as like they had a meeting. Who knows how?
Perhaps
know.
shared some pierogies.
Some adult
Over
pierogies.
over some pierogies. Yeah, and who knows how like cool, friendly this guy was in person. And then Dershowitz wants to do the lawyer thing and like get it documented right
Yeah.
away. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
this totally obviously transparently bullshit thing where it's like, oh, thinking back to our time where you made me the following promises that I'm now putting in
I
writing.
especially appreciated your sentence that went like this.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So it's that one. Are we on the lower one?
Yeah. Lower left, and then we can
Yes.
work up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's get that there.
Alan, it was great seeing you and your beautiful family as well. As we were talking, I couldn't help but think that Don Rickles once referred to that same area as, he redacted the O from God's
That's a
waiting
Jewish
room.
thing. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
right, that's right.
Thank you. I did not know that. What a transformation. Hopefully, you'll be coming down for many years to come, and I look forward to maintaining and growing our friendship. Regarding Mr. Epstein, the United States Attorney's Office will not interfere with how the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office administers the sentence imposed by the court. That being said, this does not mean that the USAO condones or encourages PBSO to mitigate the terms and conditions of a sentence. Furthermore, it does not mean that if contacted for our position concerning alternative custody or in-home detention, we would not object. To be clear, if contacted, we will object. Naturally, I also expect that no one on behalf of Mr. Epstein will use my assurance to you to affirmatively represent to PBSO that the USAO does not object to an alternative custody or in-home detention. Have a safe trip back to Boston, and I look forward to reading your new book. Take care.
No, you don't. So this is great because, of course, Alan Dershowitz has sent this email reminding him of this conversation to his government email, which he knows can be, potentially subject to just this kind of thing. Yeah. So he's putting it in very clear terms. Now, again, the U.S. Attorney's Office doesn't necessarily have any say in how a sentence is carried out by the state at all. So it doesn't really matter, as he's pointing out. But he's also saying, we're not necessarily going to sit back if they ask us what we think about allowing him to be released for alternative custody or in-home detention. We're going to have an opinion on that. But smart of him to put this in writing. Just very interesting, though, this mix of, friends and business.
Yeah.
So, and then this is very funny too, the Alan Dershowitz response.
Dear blank, sorry I couldn't get back to you earlier with the name and number. I will have it for you on Monday. I really appreciate your willingness to make the call. You are a real mensch. Best. Akin.
He misspelled his own name on his BlackBerry.
He's an equal opportunity offender there. Give him credit to that. Jeffrey.
Looking forward to spending time with you in your life.
On camera.
On camera.
Every email with that now.
So good.
Yeah. What the fuck is that? Is that just a non sequitur, or do we know?
I think we just wanted the typo.
I thought it was funny that he misspelled his name.
Sure.
But also just to see this, this is just fascinating to me, this insight of how these people communicate, Here's another Dershowitz email, the next one. And, he's really working the refs here. He's trying to make sure that his client is not going to have to actually do 18 months in a minimum security facility.
Wow. Yeah. It's all billable though, right? All these emails he's sending.
Yeah. And I think they were.
I don't think it's about that. I think it's about,
I know.
Yeah.
It's the love
getting more massages with his underpants.
Yeah, it's this guy. Yeah.
Possibly. Allegedly.
BFFs. Dear blank, sorry I didn't get back to you sooner, but I've been incredibly busy since I left Paradise in Miami Beach. Just argued an appeal in New York and debated the Mideast at Georgetown. I greatly appreciate your willingness to call the sheriff and advise him that your office would take no position on how he handled Epstein's sentence as long as he didn't get special treatment, but let's put any call off for a while. Thanks, Alan.
This is sneaky. So this is, a few weeks later, he's like, yeah, thanks for making that call for me to the sheriff's office to make sure that, it's clear that the federal government doesn't care if you let him out. As long as he doesn't get any other special treatment.
No, he didn't say thanks for making the call, but he's saying, so
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So the first one was okay, let me see here. So the first one was okay, it was so nice. And it's saying, I appreciate your candor and you'll not interfere, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it wasn't really in that first one. Did he make that? Okay, so what did he actually say?
In the second one, he said, we won't even, he still might object.
Yeah, will not interfere. This doesn't mean that they encourage or condone. I also expect that he didn't. Yeah. He said, if contacted, we will object.
Right.
But we don't know if there's a phone call that happens in between these, right?
Right.
Because he specifically,
I don't know.
I mean,
this sort of seems like Alan Dershowitz, either because he received this confirmation in person, or he's just fucking being a dirtbag, being like, oh yeah, here's the name and number that you were gonna call, and the other guy is like, I don't think I ever said that, and then he's like, oh, didn't get back to you. And then he's like, I think he's trying to preserve the idea that he promised to call by saying, I greatly appreciate your willingness to call the sheriff and advise him that your office would take no position. But let's just put that off.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that way it's like he can still preserve the idea that he was promised that, even though it sounds like he wasn't.
And I'll call upon you at a future date.
Dirtbag.
Yeah. No, that's just how these people operate. It's very interesting. Speaking of how these people operate, we've got another letter from Lefkowitz. This is amazing. The beginning, I had to include this because the opening is so amazing to me of this letter. I just can't imagine writing like this to the U.S. Attorney's Office or any prosecutor's office.
So
on the left, yeah.
Okay, so remind us. So this is that same attorney that apparently is in charge of.
Yeah,
that is apparently Alex Acosta's boss.
Yeah, his dad.
Basically.
Yeah, his dad. Pretty much. He's like college professor that he's still trying to impress. Here, I can get
that letter of rec.
Yeah. Here's the letter of recommendation I promised. It's getting zoomed in a little bit. We'll start with that left side here. Okay.
I appreciate your letter of June 17, 2009. I sincerely hope that any and all issues that could generate an adversarial relationship between Mr. Epstein and the United States Attorney's Office are in our past.
Like,
DJ,
I don't
run
know,
that back.
sex abuse.
Cool.
Just please read that again. It's incredible.
I sincerely hope that any and all issues that could generate an adversarial relationship between Mr. Epstein and the United States Attorney's Office are in our past. Well,
Like
that's
the
up to
crimes.
Mr. Epstein.
Yeah. That's
Is he
just
going
the
to continue to
crimes.
crime?
What in the world?
If so, then we might be adversaries in the future. We probably should still be adversaries.
Look, I don't want this prosecutor-defendant relationship to be adversarial. This should be a collaborative endeavor.
Too many things coming between us these days. Yeah. Next sentence is pretty good too.
Like you, we hope that the ongoing, complex, and at times vigorous litigation will not again require your involvement, nor result in any belief on your part that any legal position taken by Mr. Epstein's counsel conflicts with the non-prosecution agreement.
So they're talking about the victim litigation, the civil suits that they're filing.
Yeah.
They're like, so you're going to stay out of it, right?
Yeah.
U.S. Attorney's Office won't be talking to any of this, won't be participating in these suits, won't be turning things over. And then he goes on to browbeat him about, and we don't have to get into too much of this or read it, but a clause in paragraph 8 of the non-prosecution agreement. And, even though we're trying to end this, this part of this relationship or move on or whatever, we also very much would appreciate the opportunity on page 2, middle paragraph there. We appreciate an opportunity to discuss paragraph 8 with you in the very near future in order to clarify a few pivotal questions raised by the NPA. Again, the non-prosecution agreement that we all spent months hammering out. And this is one thing that Acosta was saying, is that they would go back and they would try to change the terms of the deal. They'd try to reinterpret things. They'd try to say, well, it's, it's not actually what he signed. This is unfair to him.
Right.
And paragraph 8, I believe, is as to venue. And I mean, it's just, so the thing is, yeah, he's referring to paragraph 8 of the non-prosecution agreement.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
That he won't contest the jurisdiction, rather, and also waives his right to contest damages. Because he's basically saying, like, Epstein waives his right to contest the liability and also waives his right to contest damages up to an amount as agreed to between the indemnified individual. Now, he did settle with a number of people, and I hope they did well. I think that's all. We don't know how much it was for or what the terms were, but he said he was going to waive his right to contest liability. At this point. The waiver of liability does not embrace situations where a particular plaintiff asserts multiple violations. Okay, come on. It would require at most that he stipulate the existence of a single enumerated predicate that would entitle an otherwise eligible plaintiff to actual Imagine just getting letter after letter after letter like this every day when he's taken the plea a year ago and they're still going on about this, about the civil stuff. You can kind of see Acosta's point. Now, again, it's his job to deal with this, but this is what expensive lawyers can do, is just jam you up and write this stuff and try to get out of every single word that you signed. So just thought you'd enjoy that one.
If you have, for some reason, infinite resources to fight every little thing, you can just constantly be going in front of a judge and be like, Your Honor, this didn't mean this when we signed it. And then they got to do more bullshit around that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what happens, though, like, if Alex Acosta receives this and just doesn't respond?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he has to do anything to this. I don't think he has to respond to this exactly.
This is just about...
I would just, throw it in my Epstein file and ignore it.
But it sounds, look, in the same way that the Dershowitz thing happened, it almost sounds like they're kind of hoping there won't be a response because then they can point to it. They can go to the judge and say, Your Honor, we sent this correspondence of this date outlining our idea of the deal.
Yeah.
And
our understanding.
Didn't get any response, didn't get any fight from them on this.
Yeah,
so I think it's like trying to win by just bombarding them with all these emails and documents and whatever, and just maybe hoping. This is just my speculation. Does that sound right, man?
I think that's absolutely right. I think this might be why people don't like lawyers. I'm actually starting to realize. And put that together before.
Well, not all of them defend Jeffrey fucking Epstein.
I feel like that's, I mean, there are plenty of problems with the system, but I feel like that is just a problem of the system then. That like a judge should be able to look at that and be like, no, this is ridiculous. Like what you're doing is ridiculous.
Maybe they would, I guess. Like I imagine, you can tell me, Matt, but it seems like if it came to it, this strikes me as like when you try to get out of the speeding ticket by fighting it and hope the officer doesn't show up in court. Like maybe if they just do enough of this stuff, there's not really any cost to it other than the money, but it doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter. They have all the resources in the world. Does that seem like what's happening, Matt?
Yeah, that's a really good observation, I think, because it is. I mean, there's just so much lawyering going on here, and I don't do this kind of lawyering. I don't think this way. It's just this is very interesting.
No,
to me.
yeah, this is awful.
And you'll see some more
die than do this kind of thing.
So I have to really stretch my imagination. I guess,
have dignity. Yeah, it's hard. I feel like we're the same. Where I think it's hard for you to even engage in this kind of fucking analysis because it's so obnoxious.
Right. we got to find somebody scummier, I guess, to be our scummy.
Yeah. What if we had scumbag lawyer correspondent? Oh, wait, let's get fucking. This would be a good. I guess it could be the Simpsons Lionel Hutz or something. But like, hey, dirtbag attorney correspondent, what is this? And they'll be like, oh. Classic scheme. Okay, here you go.
Let me break this down for you.
They're like, they take the phone call in a like their ambulance chasing or whatever.
I think Dershowitz has an apprentice we can find somewhere else.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right, next page. I would hate more.
Speaking of Dersh, we got one more Dersh thing. I think this is kind of funny. So it's only the thing on the right. We don't need the one on the left.
All right.
That was my mistake.
Here, I'll give you the full screen and then I'll zoom.
Yeah. So this is... I think from what I can tell in his signature, we don't have the full thing here, but I believe that this is some sort of academic. And I thought this was a funny note here about Dershowitz. If the thing that starts with in May, this is October 3rd, 2020.
In May, Professor Alan Dershowitz told me that he was calling on Harvard to further investigate him so that he would be exonerated completely of any wrongdoing in connection with Epstein. In a follow-up to the letter to President Bacow at Harvard, I asked his office recently whether they have any status update on that investigation Professor Dershowitz mentioned to me. It's a good question. You may have seen that Scott Bergerson, Ghislaine Maxwell's reputed husband, resigned from his tech startup. That leads me to believe the Maxwell deposition is likely to be unsealed. It will be interesting to see what's in there, among other things, perhaps more insight into the activities of various faculty members and administrators at MIT and Harvard. Whoa. We'll see.
That was a really tantalizing sentence, as you can imagine for me to read.
Wow.
Various activities, various faculty members, rather. Yeah.
So 2020. Huh. So who is this again? It's always I'm always fiddling with the technology. We don't know. Wait, special agent, FBI boss.
Oh, that's something else. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be
something else. Okay, so that doesn't matter. So in May, told me he was calling on Harvard to further investigate him. So they're asking, like, did that happen?
Yeah. No, I don't think it ever did.
Okay.
It's just kind of a fun, ironic kind of like.
Oh, there might be some.
It's a good question.
Some of our friends over at MIT and Harvard who might be implicated as well.
Just an interesting little. Little thing there for you.
Wait, we don't know who this is or what kind of person this is?
I think it's an academic based on his email signature.
But what's the yesterday Capucci reposted the Epstein interview I did from May.
I don't know who Capucci is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we assume that what's redacted there's a hyperlink, I'm guessing. To the interview.
Yes.
But are they interviewing him? Are they being interviewed about him?
You look and see.
Because actually that should be pretty.
Yeah, I'm tracking it down here. I think it is possible. It looks like it might be somebody named Stephen DeLay. Does that sound like a name you know?
No, but that doesn't mean much. So it could be like another professor.
Oh yeah, I see this Bobby Capucci. Yeah, that's
Oh, it is.
May 2020. That's what it is.
We can redo that if you want to do that.
We found
it. There we go.
This matches his email signature.
Man.
Oh, we have the whole transcript of the recording.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, this is all live. So who is this person then?
All right. So he is he's an academic in North Carolina. And yeah, I'm not sure why he has this insight, but he's written 6 books on theology and philosophy. So it seems like an actual professor.
Interesting.
Just an interesting little note. He seems to have some insight.
Originally out of Santa Clara County, California. For any
Well,
of my Bay Area folks out
what's his connection to
there.
any of this? Who is this to? What is he trying to do? Subject Epstein again.
Well, okay, so Bobby Capucci hosted the Jeffrey Epstein Show.
Oh.
So I just searched Epstein, which isn't helpful because that's the name of the show. So it's like the very first sentence.
Right. I just wonder, is it somebody who's kind of going after Dershowitz a little bit?
I think so. Okay, so just kind of scrolling through here. So this is like a full transcript. It's 21 pages of conversation. Let's see. Dr. DeLay says, in fact, I'm sure we're going to touch on this as we progress, but I was pretty disappointed to see how few of my colleagues in higher education have really taken the situation on squarely. And I think that, unfortunately, the response you might think there should be from faculty and administrators at Harvard and also from MIT, for that matter, just hasn't been forthcoming. And of course, that's disappointing. I will say, blah, blah, blah. The petition is designed to call for significant fundamental reform to the donation policies at MIT and Harvard so that philanthropy, the sort that Epstein was notorious for, just doesn't creep into higher ed. And yesterday, the petition thankfully really took off and there's a ton of signatures.
Good job.
Should we try to contact this person?
Yeah, it seems pretty
maybe.
cool.
Because if this was someone trying to actually do something about it, I mean, who knows? Who knows who this is? But so, Matt, are these 2 emails connected? I don't even understand.
No, don't worry about that other one.
The other one's just not connected.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a relief. But then my question would be, why is this email in the files? So this looks like a professor emailing another professor.
Yeah, we don't know who's emailing, so
why would this be in the Epstein files?
For the DOJ to have access
how's the
to
government
this.
have it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Is there any? Yeah, but can you give us any insight as to the possible ways that might happen? Or,
I mean, he obviously would have to have been emailing with somebody whose emails were subpoenaed by the Department of Justice, or otherwise made some other device they had access to. I really don't know. I don't have that one.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be a government employee with this external email thing. Like that's. Yeah, he is communicating with someone that is on a very secure network for it to be labeled that way in the subject, right?
Yeah, I mean, that could also just be university email or something, but that's so weird. Okay.
I mean, it could be a state school, and so maybe there's
with that, it's not like that automatically gets funneled to like every email.
I'm just coming up with ideas.
Everybody. Yeah, no,
I'm the idea person.
I would love more insight from Matt as to what the fuck this could be, but I guess it's just hard to know.
Yeah, again, this is the day it was released. It's really hard to put some of these pieces together. This next one is pretty easy to understand, though. So this next one is from July 3rd, 2008. And 4 days later, the first victim filed suit under the Crime Victim Restoration Act. And this is very interesting. This is an assistant U.S. attorney, unnamed, writing to presumably somebody in their office, although it's full black bars on the from and to lines, so we actually can't see
even length of email address or anything like that.
Yeah. Or, because the other ones, we can kind of get the idea that it's a Florida U.S. attorney's office. But I'm guessing this is internal, just based on the context here. It's an interesting email.
Hi, blank. I just got an earful from the last of the victim's lawyers. Cool. An earful. Wow. That's a way to characterize that. Yeah. He is a former Broward County ASA, and he represents 3 victims. He says that his clients can name many more victims and wanted to know if we can get out of the deal.
Wow.
I told him that at this time, assuming that Epstein performs the last piece of the agreement, we are bound. He asked that if there is the slightest hesitation on Epstein's part of completing his performance, that he and his clients be allowed to consult with our office before making a decision.
So just pause very quickly and remind you, this is July 3rd. He took the plea, I believe, on the 30th of June of this year. So this is just days after they take the plea. They're just finding out about this.
Right, without notifying the victims.
Right. And can he get out of this? Like, because there's more people that want to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This thing sucks, man.
Yep.
We need
that's the government
has there been more of an investigation? I know there's been stuff, like you said, Acosta was interviewed or something. Like, just a complete 9/11 commission on this fucking plea deal. Has there been that?
So there was a DOJ investigation which found that some of the stuff was borderline, but that none of it crossed the line, and then nobody got fired, basically. There's a whole report and we can link to. But yeah, no, it's pretty bad. Yeah, but let's the
When,
next
who
paragraph.
did that? Did a good DOJ do that?
Internally, yeah.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but like a Trump DOJ or a Biden DOJ or a, like, when was that?
I think that was 2020. So I think it was under Trump. Yeah.
Okay, so that sucks.
Yeah.
This is just another thing that we could do if we take back power, is just look into more of this kind of stuff. I don't know.
Maybe not cover up this crap anymore.
This seems weird. Like, it just, there's something. Okay, sorry, let's keep going with this one because this is
it's interesting.
devastating.
I also couldn't remember if I told you about our meeting with the sheriff's office about the jail. Epstein is out at the stockade, not the jail. Goldberger and some psychiatrists have already met with him and have told him that if he receives any less favorable treatment than others, Ken Starr and the whole crew will sue. He also told me that Epstein was, quote, brilliant, and that he has already offered to teach GED classes. I sort of cocked my head at the brilliant comment and said, you know, he only has a high school diploma, right? I used my best, quote, don't believe the hype voice. He was clearly shocked, and I explained that Epstein usually claims to have at least a master's degree, but other than a few college courses, he had no education above a high school diploma, which I think makes him ineligible to teach a GED course. He also told us that Epstein is eligible for work release and will be placed on work release, in direct contradiction to what he told the agents a few months ago.
What the fuck is happening?
Yep. Because that's one of the big questions, is how he ended up on work release. And so this is just all kind of clipping along the way it was supposed to. Yeah. I mean, he's committed a sex offense.
Who's Goldberger?
Don't know. Goldberger and some psychiatrists have already met with him. I guess somebody from the sheriff's office, it sounds like. But you know, they're all on this hair trigger because they know what they're saying right here. Ken Starr and the whole crew will sue. Like, if there's the least bit of different treatment, if it looks like he's being discriminated against in there because of who he is and this deal.
Ken Starr and the whole crew will
sue.
Sorry, remind me his involvement. I can't remember exactly.
He was on the team. He was very much on the team.
On his legal team.
Yeah.
He's not named too much on these, and the new ones I searched for his name too. There's nothing too notable, but he's absolutely
Lefkowitz's partner at the time, right? Like,
he was,
legal partner. But I think what's funny here too is, like, if he receives any less favorable treatment than others, they're going to sue. So let's make sure he doesn't receive any less favorable treatment than others by giving him way more favorable treatment than anybody else could ever expect to see.
Because like we're covering on Where There's Woke, Christians want to receive the same treatment as others, and that means they can do shitty reading responses, writing assignments.
Essays.
And then get people fired and just don't have accountability. And so you do have to treat them better than everybody else for them to even think that it's neutral.
Yeah.
Sure.
Entitlement.
Crazy.
That's just how it works.
All right. I got
That's
another
weird. The brilliant thing and the high school thing.
And as much as like this guy gets it at the end, right? Like, I am also really bothered by the earful. From the last of the victims' lawyers, like that kind of language there. I just like
it depends.
Really
it depends on if it's.
Way.
It depends. Like, I could see that being if this person. So this is one U.S. attorney to, and we don't know to who. Sending the email to who?
No,
correct.
But
so
presumably some of the law enforcement.
If this is, it wouldn't. Would it be Acosta or no?
Hard to say.
But anyway, presuming that, I just don't know the structure of this stuff, Matt. So anything you can offer me on that. But this is a U.S. attorney. Assuming they're like not happy with the way this went, I could see it being like, hey, fuckface, I just got a earful from the victim's lawyers because of this bullshit deal you're doing. Yeah, I could see it in that sense, in which case I could see saying that.
The black bar is small enough, it could be Alex. That would fit. That's a short name, whatever it is. So it could be saying, hi, Alex.
So he's saying he got an earful from the victim's lawyers. Says that the clients can name many victims. Want to know. Okay.
Yeah, but this very likely could be Acosta that he's writing, because who else would he be writing up the chain to? And then it says consult with our office before making decisions. So yeah, it could be.
Yeah, that's just so crazy. Like, that they knowingly did not tell the victims, and then there's obviously tons more victims.
This fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's like really, really disappointing. Like, I think it's, there's so many things that like shake your confidence in the government. Obviously Trump 2.0 just in general, like as a whole, but even back then, like that's just really, really, really disappointing. Like, to see this is how our government was approaching the situation.
Well, prepare to be much more disappointed.
Oh, cool.
Next page. We've got November 17th. So this is now going to be 5 months after the plea deal. Just I want to give you a little taste of some of this. There's so much of this kind of correspondence in here. Start at the bottom, at the email at the bottom, it'll work up. So this is Lefkowitz writing to someone in the U.S. Attorney's Office, presumably someone who worked closely in the Epstein deal.
All right. Sorry. Blank, will you be around Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving Day? Jay. Hi, Jay. Sorry, I've been meaning to get back to you. I will be around both days. Do we need to discuss anything related to Mr. Epstein, or is this purely a social visit? I'm going to send out an email to you and Roy today on 2 issues related to Mr. Epstein.
So Roy Black would be the other defense attorney, one of the other ones. But this thing about the social, now, check out the response from Lefkowitz up top.
I will be seeing Jeffrey during my trip, and I can certainly update you on him and the various civil cases I am dealing with. But primarily, I thought we could have a social visit. For once.
Huh.
Yeah.
You always want to talk about Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. Yeah. So
like we never talk anymore. We never just talk about us, you and I.
We never get to talk about you and your life.
Yeah. We never just have. Yeah. I don't want to confuse people because this isn't the Dershowitz one, right? Or
no, but it's still it's the same tone though.
And
an unknown U.S. attorney. Yeah. So
do we think it's Acosta again? I mean,
no, it's an assistant U.S. attorney, so this would be one of his deputies. But I just wanted to highlight because again, there's a bunch of stuff like this in the record.
So that means he has a personal relationship with also the assistant U.S. attorney.
Oh yeah, I mean they all probably went to law school or.
So is this Lefkowitz just so connected that that's a big part of this? Maybe
is he still alive? Please
doesn't
say
hurt.
He's dead.
Oh yeah, he's still teaching at Columbia, as far as I know.
No, Columbia, of course. Wow.
So this is just a really indicative of how because you were asking before, Thomas, how does this happen? This is how this happens. They're friends. Yeah. They're chummy. Like this is I got this guy and
the fucking swamp.
And you can tell too when he puts together this team of Ken Starr, Alan Dershowitz, Jay Lefkowitz, Roy Black, these are big names, and they're all coming in. And so this has to be something you take seriously. You have to write back and do this. This is how it works. American justice. Here we are.
Wow.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, I also highlighted the weird, probably fake thing that you probably saw from the Larry Nassar thing. We can address that.
That's a weird one. Let's pull that up.
We should talk about it.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, it's the next slide.
Yeah,
that is bizarre.
It is very strange.
From what I've seen so far, I feel like this isn't real, but
it probably isn't. The handwriting's pretty good, and also there's a lot of reasons to think that this is some sort of plant or prank or something. But DOJ, for what it's worth, in an X tweet, this is really weird. DOJ earlier on the day we're recording this, had said, we're going to be looking into this to see if it's real, which is very funny because they've been looking at these files since January, right?
So can we reset and tell everybody what this is?
So this is a letter allegedly from Jay Epstein at the Manhattan Correctional Facility to Larry Nassar, who is, of course, Lydia probably has a better idea. I can summarize who Larry Nassar is better than I can, but
piece of shit, sexual predator who abused gymnasts across the United States when they were underage girls, and also as they crossed over the 18 threshold or whatever. But he's a piece of crap.
This can't be real.
Another supervillain of pedophilia.
So it's like the idea is this awful sex offender pedophile was like, well, as I'm about to kill myself, better just write my pen pal that's the other notorious.
Yeah. With a Netflix special about him. And
he was just moved that week, apparently. So he's no longer at this address. That's why the envelope there is bounced. And this was found allegedly in the Manhattan Correctional Facility after Epstein died. It had come back and bounced. And it takes a couple of days to get it out. And one of the reasons DOJ is saying this isn't real is because there's a Virginia postmark on it. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
And the postmark is 3 days after he died. But how does that? Would that happen based on
prison? It takes a while to get things out.
That's true. Okay.
So there potentially, but I mean, who knows? I think it's too good to be true. This thing, it's too weird.
Dumb.
It's too on the nose.
And it's too smart. It's written in such a witty way that we know how this guy writes emails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then again, who is writing this then? Because if it is 3 days
Redditor.
after the... Wait, is it confirmed that it was actually from the prison, for sure?
No, I don't think we have confirmed that. I think that
No, I thought you said the postmark was... Oh, okay.
The postmark's Virginia. And then it did come back to the prison because obviously the return address...
They just wrote
New York.
the return address.
Okay, if they put it in
Manhattan
Correctional Jay Epstein.
Yeah, I don't buy this. I think it's one of those things.
I don't know what to make of it.
But it's still somebody who did something pretty quick, though, right? I mean, that's somebody who did this, if it's a fake, it is postmarked from 3 days after his death, right?
Right. I think so. Yeah.
Unless that's faked or something, but it doesn't seem like they're saying that. So that would mean somebody jumped on a prank pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's
I wouldn't be that surprised with something
yeah,
like that.
no, it just is weird, but it does. So, I mean, the content is gross, but I feel like if we've talked about this, so I think for listeners and everything, we should say what we're talking about.
Right. Dear LN, as you know by now, I have taken the, quote, short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, ... our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls. Yeah. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to, quote, grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grab in the mess halls. Snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein.
It's too perfect.
Fake as fuck.
I don't think it's
but
real.
By the way, Trump also likes young girls. Like, it's just, come on, what?
Yeah. It's too on the nose for everything. Like, it's just doesn't feel real. So
a weird thing.
Color me skeptical right now. Yeah, and then if the DOJ comes out and they say, yeah, confirmed, this is like the guy.
They're gonna do
that. I know.
They've said today it's fake. There's also a fake suicide video in here because somebody sent it to DOJ and just asked, is this real? Right. So it has to go in the records because it was sent in reference to Epstein. So, just like take
that's something I wanted to clarify because I saw people crying conspiracy theory about that. And I get it. I get being really skeptical of this DOJ and all that, but this is one of those like FOIA type things, right? Where it's I guess it's slightly different law governing it, right? But it's like they have to send what they have related to Epstein, and so if somebody sent them a fake AI video and said, "Is this real?" that's going to be part of the stuff they turn over in this effort.
It's in the Epstein file.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. So,
and there's nothing in the language of the law itself where they have to like indicate whether something is credible or not, like as to what they've turned over. We know that there were like requirements regarding redactions that they didn't do, but there's nothing related to that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's just everything has to be turned over as long as it's not, with one of the exceptions. So more to come.
That's an unfortunate thing too, like in this day and age, because I think like what we see is that people see this as the DOJ releasing things and then they are just quick to believe that it's real. Yes. And not having expectations of the DOJ to indicate, like, I don't know. I don't even know if you would trust that necessarily from this DOJ, but it just, I think, is going to create a massive amount of misinformation, and anything real, we're really, really, really going to struggle to tear that apart. And that kind of feels like it's all part of the DOJ's like hope is that they can just say, well, that's all fake, and so is also this thing about Trump. But
let's
dangerous.
Do our final patron thanks and I guess break, even though it's late for that. And then I want to ask a final question or two, I think. So we've got to thank our top patrons, our Hall of Famers, our all-time greats at the very top of the leaderboard. Thank you to the Cincinnati Kid, Bob Loblaw's Law Podcast, Philly Basement Bar is busy organizing, Elect Thomas Smith President, American Honky Tonk Bar Association, Balticate, Philip Kaiser, my ex broke up with me because when they got sick of me singing Wonderwall and asked me if I would ever stop, I said maybe. Corin Lan, a string of unpronounceable characters, Malika Chandler, Milo Mead Song is fighting petty tyrants, RhondaTheDork.com, hors d'oeuvres in the court before we report, Big Easy Blasphemy, Chris Waltrip, Fred R. Grothius, Classic Libtard, and Mitchell. Thank you so much, top patrons. You're the best. A Merry Christmas and a happy holidays and a Merry Epstein Files to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you for your support. And we'll wrap up after this. So, Matt, I guess overall what I want to make sure we address is like these redactions and their plan to sort of, slowly release stuff. Like, where's the rubber going to hit the road in terms of if they're just doing something improper here, which seems like they clearly are, but if they're doing this badly, if there's still a cover up here, who has recourse? What's our recourse, if any, and what would happen? there?
Yeah, no, that's an important question. Chuck Schumer said they're going to sue, that the Senate will sue to enforce this, and potentially you can get a court order, which we'll see what that's worth because, again, DOJ has ultimate control over this. The Senate also has inherent contempt power. They are inherently contemptuous, and they can just go after people they think are not complying with the law, so they can try to do that. I think that the right thing at this point would be to try to impeach Pam Bondi just to get her attention. I think maybe that might help because you got other stuff you can try to impeach her on at this point.
I think Massey said he would do that, right? Or somebody. I think there was actually a Republican that said they would do that.
Well, because Massey and Ro Khanna, they're buds and stuff, and I think they've been kind of
but I do. My first thought was like, oh, that's great when I saw that headline, and then I'm like, this all still does put attention off of Trump. Like it is still like, oh yeah, those DOJ people, they're the ones doing that, and it's like. Yeah, but also impeach Trump. He's in the he's part of this. And I know they're not going to, but it's okay. But it's all right. Go on.
No, we've already discussed before in the last few months about how much there is against Bondi already, just in the way that they've handled this open and public, the way they've handled this investigation, and the way they protected Trump and potentially protected Epstein and the interests of anybody else who might be covered up here. I think there's plenty of room for several different directions, and they should just try them all because there's more to come. And I wanted to mention too, when we were talking about that at the end of the last segment there, I keep seeing people reposting things, and I've done it in a couple of places today when things we've been talking about. I have mentioned things, and we've looked at a couple of things that have not come out within this last few days, but have come out very recently that I want to make sure that we saw that were still in this release. But most of the stuff was stuff that came out within the last couple of days. But that people are starting to learn more and more about things that have been around for a while, like the Jane Doe civil suit, and people are posting like an excerpt from the complaint in a lot of these different cases, and they'll post an excerpt from the complaint and be like, "Oh my God, can you believe this? These facts, these new things that are coming out." And again, those are complaints. You have to take that with legal literacy. You have to approach and understand that there's a good chance that stuff in those complaints are true, but they're not verified fact. They're not findings from a court in the same way that you could say other things are actually facts. So just to look for as these things go forward, I'm particularly interested in seeing more about the finances because I still don't think anything else about that has come out. Hoping we get some more internal communication, some more emails. There's going to be so much more. I mean, there's an estimate that there's, probably there's something like maybe 15% of everything's been released at this point. Who knows? Well,
and the takeaway is so far not really much in the way of Trump, but the deal and the people involved in that's so far, that's like to me, from what you're presenting, the thing that really comes across. And I wonder how much more there is about that.
And that he had the audacity, to keep calling it like a terrible deal. Epstein, thought it was a bad deal for him.
Working the refs.
Because he had to do time. He didn't want to do any time or anything that looked like time. And it's just... I had something else.
And I guess I understand, given that the prosecution was essentially taking a tone that hey, we're really sorry this is an inconvenience to you. Yeah, well, maybe then he doesn't feel like he got a good deal, Whereas if you had actually pursued this in the way that you would with any other fucking criminal, which is hey, man, you're lucky to even be in these talks right now. We could just throw your ass in jail. We just convict you of really bad stuff. Then maybe he would have felt differently, but they just really treated him with such privilege. It's just astonishing.
In a just world, I would want to see Alex Acosta disbarred. I feel this is really, really, really bad and disgusting. And he was not serving his clients. He was serving the other person.
Yeah.
I think about the other side of the spectrum here with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who they slandered terribly, called him a gang member, called him at one point tried to suggest that he was some kind of pedophile himself, which is ridiculous.
Well, maybe if he was, maybe you'd treat him better.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He should have thought of that. But they sent him down to this, torture prison for a couple of months and then found a federal charge to bring him back on. So they didn't have to actually admit they'd made a mistake.
Right.
They made up this human trafficking thing. Do you think his lawyers are getting these kinds of emails and this kind of chumminess? Of course. I mean, this is just the absolute opposite. But that, of course, is an undocumented Salvadoran immigrant with
committing the
seeking
crime
asylum.
Of being non-white,
Yep. And, you just have to be friends with Les Wexner and have $1 billion and the biggest house in New York. And these are the lawyers you can afford, and this is just the justice disgusting. You get. That's right.
Absolutely disgusting. Well, thanks for taking us through that, Matt. Thanks, Lydia. And thanks, listeners, for listening and supporting. We really appreciate you. And have amazing happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And we'll probably be doing more on this because there's so much more to come out, as Matt said. So we'll see you soon. This has been Opening Arguments, produced by Thomas and Lydia Smith, with editing help from Peter Baird. The intro is by Thomas Smith. This outro is by Matt Cameron. Support the show at patreon.com/law. Contact us through Patreon or openarguments@gmail.com. Make sure to follow our Blue Sky @OpenArgs. But most of all, please share the show. Thanks for listening.